Welcome back to the Wisely Automotive YouTube channel and to our very cold showroom on this December evening. In this video, we're going to be showing you a bit of a how-to on how to sort one of the most common rattles on a BMW i3. That's not to say they are a rattly car. In fact, we think the build quality is very good on them, and generally 6-7-year-old cars are pretty rattle-free, but there's one rattle that we hear a lot and we have to fix quite often on i3s, and that is the dashboard area. So a rattle comes from around here. I'll get Martin to kind of overlay some clips we have of that. And it's seemingly unstoppable. We've, over the years, tried lots of different things. We've seen lots of solutions when we've opened up that area, and none of them really work, or it comes back after a while. However, we have finally cracked it, and in this video we're going to show you how you can sort it yourself if your i3 is suffering from the same issue. So as you've probably noticed, this is BMW, which is our i3 facelift range extender, and it's actually been suffering from this rattle for a few months, but we've just been too busy to get around to it. However, what's prompted me to get onto this today is I've treated it to a little Christmas present, which is some dark oak matte trims. So this car had the standard interior, so it just had the andesite trims on the dashboard. Out of all the options that were available on an i3, I've always been a particular fan of the dark oak matte trim, which came as standard with the suite interior, but could also be optioned on, I think, any interior. And this is the part number for a right-hand drive set. The price is just over £200 plus VAT. Will actually also include the pricing of all the other options as well. These are about half the price of the Eucalyptus trims, which personally I'm not a huge fan of, so I didn't think it was too unreasonable. And also you get back a set of trims which you can use for something else. And on that note, Martin, who's behind the camera right now, has something up his sleeve for those, and we might find out a bit more about that in early 2024. Because this is a set, there's 3 boxes, because there's 3 different bits of trim. We'll get onto the central one and the one by the steering wheel at the end of the video. For now, what we need is the one for the glove box. So let's just open that up. And here we go. I've always wondered, because the andesite ones you can buy separately, and I've always wondered whether the oak ones you can only buy as a set because maybe they line up the grain, but we'll find out in a moment. But anyway, there is the new piece. Some padding that actually comes from the factory. We've seen this in places, and we've actually thought that maybe it's someone trying to solve the situation themselves. So yeah, interesting to see that there. This is literally straight out the box. So we'll put the new piece to one side for now, and we essentially need to take this off. So you can see here, it's just clips, and there's 2 screw points here. So if we open the glove box, Martin, I don't know if you can quite just get to those, but there's 2 T20 screws. So this is a T20 driver, and let's just pop that in. Take that one out. That's the oven. In terms of hard fixtures, that is it. So that's those 2 screws put to one side. To get this one off, to be fair, we can just kind of peel there, and the first sort of clip releases, and then it's just a case of keeping going round. Try a little, put your hand in, get the back one, and there we go. And sometimes it sort of catches here. You can potentially open the glove box to try and make it a little bit easier for you, but eventually it kind of wiggles its way out. And those have all come out, nothing's broken, so that can be used again. Actually, I've just noticed that the new part, which has obviously got the wood veneer on, is manufactured a little bit differently. It's a different material, but also it's the old one, the andesite one's got these kind of ridges, etc. But the mounting points are all the same. And in terms of this rattle, it's actually not to do with the lid, it's to do with what's here. So what we're going to show you is kind of the crux of the matter, and then you can modify your repair or how you want to go about it, depending on which panel you've got. But we're going to show you what's been working for us. What actually is causing the rattle? Well, it's this metal bar here, which acts as the hinge for the glove box. And it runs through, obviously, lots of plastic parts. And for reasons I can't really explain to you, it rattles. And it can get worse or better depending on temperature. Sometimes you won't hear it at the beginning of your journey, but as the car warms up, it will get worse. Sometimes you'll hit it and it will go away for a few miles, but then inevitably come back. But yeah, why it actually does it, I don't know. But the fix is essentially to put pressure on it. And I guess what you're doing is you're just picking up that slack, which is causing it to rattle. And what we've found works and is kind of simple and anyone can do is just to use this kind of stuff. It's just single-sided sticky back kind of foam. I don't know what that is, like 4mm, 3mm or something like that. And we just build up sort of a block of it, which I'll show you in a second. However, the challenging thing is trying to work out where exactly on here you want to build up that block of the sticky foam. So, because once we're here, obviously we don't know exactly where it is. So what we're going to do, we're going to stick some blue tack down, just there, like so. We're going to take a chalk marker, which we have lying around here, but essentially anything that can just stain the blue tack just temporarily. And now we're going to just press that on. Don't have to actually kind of fully put it on, but hopefully that will have transferred, and it has, only just, but there you go. Or if you want to wing it, if you go, essentially if you line up with the edge of that, that should work. So that's our first marker. I'm just going to do the next one. Let me just improve that one so I don't lose it. Pop it on, a bit more chalk, and just try and line it up before it makes contact. And there we go. I think I'm lined up. Yeah, let's see. I'm not as confident with that one. No, we're good. Let's start putting the foam on. We've moved out of the car because Martin was complaining about the lighting. And I'm going to cut a section about, I don't know what that is, like 2/3 of an inch, something like that. That's probably about right, maybe a tiny bit bigger. So just cut a few of those, line it up. I'm not very good at arts and crafts, but no one hopefully is ever going to see this, so it doesn't matter too much. 2, 3, 4, 5, like so. I don't think we've ever actually made a note of how many is optimal, but I think just sort of one more than you think is right is going to be the right number, because obviously it does compress and you don't want it to kind of stop applying force down onto that metal bar. So we'll go with 5. I'm pretty sure that looks right in comparison to the previous times we've done this. We've just got the fiddly job of removing the foil off each of these. Apologies for my incredibly red hands. It is not Martin's camera work. I just have some very weird circulation issues that seem to show their head in winter. But anyway, obviously I'm just sticking the sticky side onto the non-sticky side of the next one. There we go. It's essentially like a, I don't know, it's just under a centimetre or maybe about a centimetre. And we're going to peel the last one off and stick it on. I'll wait till the end to do that, but now we need to make another one, so we need 2 of these. So I'll just quickly whip that up. Just marked with a felt tip pen where the sort of touch points were, and I've wiped the chalk off just to avoid it getting in the way of the sticky pad. And I'm just going as close as I can to the upper edge. There we go. So yeah, essentially we're lining up with the end of this just about and the end of that. As I say, it doesn't particularly matter how well that's stuck on because it's going to be in a constant state of compression anyway. But if you're planning on using something else or got a different idea in mind for what to put here, that's roughly where they need to go. It just needs to last lifting it around and putting it on. Firstly, just to double check that we're not completely off, I'm just going to offer it up sort of upside down, and yeah, that looks about right. So now I'm going to go in like so. We're trying to not, there we go. There we go. Just one left. There we go, that's it. And now that's lined up well. Anyway, that's that done, and that should hopefully be the rattle sorted, but we will report back, obviously, if that's not the case. But yeah, let us know if it works for you, or if you come up with a slightly different variation on that. But yeah, we're pretty confident that that's the source of that annoying rattle. Oh, I haven't screwed the screws on. If you're lucky enough to have a selection of T20 drivers, I'd highly recommend using a short one, because this somewhat gets in the way. I mean, it's not going to scratch, but it's slightly awkward. But that's all we've got, and it works fine for us. So that's that. Now we'll move on to removing the centre part. First step, Martin's now outside of the car, is we do need to remove the infotainment screen, or not really remove it, but lift it to give us enough room to get this trim out. On cars with the business nav, I think you can just about get round it without removing it. Martin's not in. So you've rudely just interrupted me because you think that the business nav screen is the same size. There you go, Martin, an inch. You're an inch off. There you go. With the Pro Nav, you've got no chance at all. So we need to lift this up. It's held with two T20 screws, but to get to them, we have to take these little caps off. Now, in the case of Bevy, these have all gone kind of a bit milky and white, so they're, I think, 70p plus VAT, so I'm just going to buy two new ones. But to try and remove them without damaging them, there's no real foolproof solution, but essentially what you need to do is just find a place to pry. Just push in as hard as you can, because you want to commit, and then just pry. Nope, that didn't work. I'll try once more. There we go. Unfortunately, we've not found a better way. I haven't really caused any marks there, which is the most important thing. So yeah, that's one done. That's the other one. You could reuse that, yeah, as long as you sort of do it like that. But like I said, I'm going to replace these anyway. T20 again. These screws are different to the dashboard lid ones, so make sure they're a bit longer. Worth mentioning at this point to do this with the screen off. Okay, so with those screws out, there we go, we can just lift it out of place. We can kind of pull the cable out a little bit, and it just about gives us enough room to kind of let that rest there, and that way we don't have to unplug that connector. So now on to removing this. Glove box back open, just a generic pry tool, whatever you can find or make up, and a good point to pry is here. So if you just press in and pull up, that releases one of them. We're trying to avoid prying on this because it's almost like a rubberized plastic, and once damaged, that's it. So we're trying to avoid pushing on that, but that's the first one done. That's the next one. And you can keep going, but what we'll do is we'll come in from this side as well. Just like so. So that's released one up here, that one there, and then I'll just come in and do this one. There we go. So that's, I think, 4 now released, so we've just got the central ones left, and just needs a bit of brute force. There we go. So that's it out, and there's 6 clips in total, and all of them have come out nicely. And prepare to find loads of dirt here. This isn't actually too bad, but while I'm here, it's a little cleanup. And the panel, the new one in dark oak matte. Okay, there we go. Production date June 2022, so about half a year old. made in Hungary. Putting it in is simply the reverse, but do just watch out because you don't want to scratch this kind of fragile finish with any of these clips. So basically just let it find itself, and then it's just a case of pushing in. Now that one, struggling with that. There we go. And I think that's all 6 of them in. If I just close that, there we go, lined up as best as they do. We'll just put the screen back on. So it's got these kind of tabs and they just need to go in the right place. There's 4 of them in total. You'll know if it's in the right place because if it's not, the screws won't go in. There we go. I really need to stop saying there you go. There you go. Okay. I'm still waiting for those to arrive, so I'm going to leave them off now. But obviously, if you're reusing the ones you've taken off, just pop them back in place. So the last one is this little one here. Because actually, I think on one occasion in the past, we have broken one of these. So if there's one to be careful on, it's this one. And yeah, 3 in total. 1 right here, and then 2 at the top. So to make life a little bit easier for ourselves, we're going to just move this out the way slightly. And if you just sort of grab as much as you can the underside of the vent, it just pops up like that. And that's all we need. It can kind of stay in place, but we just need room to let this edge come out without catching on the side of that. Again, trying to avoid this, we're just going to go in gently at the top. And there we go. So that's those upper 2 ones released. And the one down here, it's just a case of fiddling and it sort of eventually gives way. So there you go, none of them damaged. Get our new one, and it's simply a reverse. So again, just watching out for this not to scratch anything. Put that in, like so. So now you can see why with that in it, where it should be, it kind of gets in the way. So there's no point working kind of around it when you can just lift it out the way. Just trying to find that position for that lower one. That's in. And those other 2 kind of just find their place. So that's now in. And this can just slot back in. So that is now all 3 of them in. And a pretty neat upgrade and something I've been wanting to do for a while, just haven't had time. But the rattle was the perfect opportunity to do so. It's quite rare to see the dark oak matte with the cloth grey interior. Personally, I really like it. I think it just makes it look a little bit different to sort of the usual andesite ones, which, you know, even if you don't know much about i3s, looks like a standard kind of trim. So yeah, for 200-ish plus VAT, I'm pretty pleased with that. And to answer the question we had earlier, it does look like they line up the veneer. Now, I don't know if all of them are exactly the same, but certainly this set does match up. That's how it looks, and actually I think unexpectedly it really works with the Gulf Blue. So that is a good point to end the video on, and Martin has told me that I need to do something new. So click here if... No, I can't remember. What do I do? Oh yeah, okay.
For the baby video, basically.
Fine. And then the second one is if you want...
Subscribe, they need to subscribe.
Okay, fine. And then thank you very much for watching.
Yeah.
Great, Martin. Just stitch that together.